Daniel Kinahan's case is becoming increasingly complicated, and things are becoming worse and more disappointing. Finally, however, the case appears larger than it appears. These mafias are widening their web while cops and attorneys attempt to sort it out and clean it up. Inside the video, we are going to analyze the latest revelation in the case. According to reports, mob lord Daniel Kinahan has escaped his Dubai hideaway and desperately seeks a safe refuge in Asia. Also, according to media sources, authorities suspect the 45-year-old fled using a forged passport when the international raid on his €1 billion drug gang was launched in April. They believe the godfather of Irish crime is now desperate to find a safe haven in another nation, away from American cops, involved in the mammoth takedown of his narcotics operation. According to sources, investigators believe his destination will be another Asian country. One possibility, they claimed, was a Central Asian country such as Kazakhstan. Kinhan has previously made multiple trips to the oil-rich state that borders Europe and has established solid contacts there. In 2019, he was caught on camera spending a whopping $140,000 for a Champions League final ball at a charity auction in the country alongside boxing promoter Bob Arum. He could be trying to get to Kazakhstan, one insider speculated. On the other hand, he could be attempting to travel to the Far East, Myanmar, or Thailand. In any case, he's finished in Dubai and has left. Daniel's father, Christy, 64, and brother Christopher Jr., 41, are also believed to have fled Dubai following the crackdown in April. The U.S. Department of Treasury designated all three as international offenders and imposed financial restrictions on them. Their assets in the U.S. were blocked, and they were forbidden from flying on American planes and doing business with companies from that country anywhere in the world. A few weeks later, authorities in Dubai, where the trio has been based since the Kinahan-Hutch war erupted in the streets of Dublin in early 2016, imposed similar sanctions on them. All of their known assets were frozen, and they now have no access to them, so they can't even shop in their cash-rich state. In addition to these steps, the Americans have imposed a $5 million bounty on each of their heads, which will be given to anyone who betrays them to authorities. Gardaí seek to prosecute Daniel Kinahan with major crimes here, and he'll also be questioned about the September 2015 murder of Gary Hutch in Spain, which launched a war that has since killed 18 men. In addition, it is understood that U.S. police intend to charge all three with drug charges in U.S. courts. According to sources, the Kinahans would face the same fate as Mexican drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who is presently serving life plus 30 years in a supermax federal high-security prison after a trial in 2019. It was kept there despite his crimes being committed in his native Mexico, and sources indicated the Kinahan gangsters face the same fate. The international assault on the Kinahans has also resulted in their cartel imploding under the strain of being at the core of a large policing operation, according to reports. According to sources, investigators believe the cartel, which smuggles millions of euros worth of drugs into Ireland and the UK each year while also offering money laundering services to other gangs, is about to disband. The focus on the Kinahans means they can't run the operation, a source said late last night. Others will take over. We believe that it is more likely that it will break up and his associates will pick up the pieces than that one of them will be named Daniel's successor. However, this could take several months. Since the dispute began in 2016, the gang has suffered significant losses in terms of men, cash, and drugs as a result of a large Garda crackdown. Over 70 Kinahan gangsters have been imprisoned in Ireland, the UK, and Spain. Investigators have also seized more than 30 of the gang's firearms and tens of millions of dollars in drugs and cash. Garda Commissioner statement. Garda Commissioner Drew Harris expected that the bounty would be a heavy, if not crippling, blow to the cartel, and Mr. Cunningham agreed. But he told the Hard Shoulder, "I'm fairly certain they'll be brought to justice. I believe the U.S.'s involvement changed the game. That news conference was incredible. I believe it was unprecedented to see someone sporting a reward $5 million sign on their head at a police news conference. It had been building up for years behind the scenes, and there is still stuff behind the scenes that we have been unaware of for the last year. For example, Kinhan was originally supposed to be in Dubai, but Mr. Cunningham stated that it is difficult to say with 100% certainty. Wherever he is most certainly selected a country that is hostile to the U.S. U.S. sanctions restricted the world and made it very small for the Kinahans and where they could go." Mr. Cunningham added, "In addition, the Kinahans have Iranian ties. They have laundered money through Iran." Christy Kinhan was allegedly working with Iran and seeking to procure fighter jets for them about 5 or 6 months ago, so it wouldn't come as a surprise. Other likely destinations include Oman, Kazakhstan, and Qatar, but Mr. Cunningham believes that international pressure will eventually lead to his capture no matter where he goes. One thing you keep hearing is that the net is closing in on him and the Kinahans in general, he said. Many of the cartel's mid-level members have already fled to South America, but I don't believe that is a viable option for the top brass. The Garda has dispatched agents to Dubai, and the Americans also have agents there. He also states that, if he is in Iran, I believe Iran will face pressure. Iran is notorious for being slow to yield to international pressure, notably from the US, but I don't think harboring the Kinahans is the best decision. Court's view. The High Court recognized Kinhan as a prominent Kinahan organized crime group member, which smuggles drugs and guns into Ireland, the UK, and continental Europe. The Special Crimes Operations Unit of Angarda Soshana describes him as a person of interest and says he will be arrested if he returns to Ireland. As the heat mounts on Browning and other key cartel participants, CAB attempted to seize 1.7 million euros in assets they believe were obtained from proceeds of crime this week. Browning is under serious pressure right now on a number of fronts, one insider added. The Kinahan cartel ordered him back to Ireland, and he's now their main man here because of his close ties to Daniel Kinahan and Sean McGovern. He is still the subject of a Garda investigation and may face charges if the DPP decides there is sufficient evidence to charge him. Browning is just one of many senior cartel figures who regularly use bogus passports when conducting cartel business. While Browning remains at large in Ireland, we have been given an image of a house on Deanstown Road in Finglas that investigators claim was purchased with criminal proceeds. Browning was an associate of Christy Dapper Don Kinahan and his sons Daniel and Christopher Jr., who handled the day-to-day running of the mob, according to Kinahan associate CAB. According to investigators, the gang is also involved in homicide, drug trafficking, and the smuggling of weapons throughout South America, the Middle East, Europe, and Ireland. According to authorities, he was the gang's principal representative in this jurisdiction, with close ties to Liam Byrne, Glenn Holland, Freddie Thompson, Gary Finnegan, and Barry Finnegan. CAB attacked Browning while they moved against James Mago Gatley's Coolock property, a Volkswagen GTI automobile, and Rolex watches. The High Court heard this week that he has not worked since 2015 due to a threat to his life, and that Ms. Lamb is a self-employed beautician who pays the mortgage on the family home. It is said that her business struggled during the pandemic and that she received PUP. CAB stated that the couple should not receive legal assistance because they have taken cruises to the Caribbean and Southeast Asia and spent 440,000 euros remodeling their home. In short, Daniel Kinahan, the godfather of Irish crime, has escaped his Dubai hideaway and is looking for a safe haven in Asia. The U.S. Department of Treasury has designated them as international offenders and imposed financial restrictions on them, resulting in their cartel imploding. Garda Commissioner Drew Harris expects the bounty to be a heavy, if not crippling, blow to the cartel. U.S. sanctions have restricted the world for the Kinahans, who have Iranian ties and have laundered money through Iran. Christy Kinhan is a prominent Kinahan organized crime group member who smuggles drugs and guns into Ireland, the UK, and continental Europe. CAB attempted to seize 1.7 million euros in assets they believe were obtained from proceeds of crime this week. So what do you think will happen next? Please mention your views in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel.